Over the last few months of my content, I've come out with a more public stance on my personal feelings regarding interracial dating. But I also want to talk about something that is very paramount to me as an African American man, and it's something that needs to be addressed. Why are so many successful black men avoiding sisters? Now, we will say that black men who do get married are still engaging sisters in that regard. But most black men are not getting married. Most successful black men are not married. Successful black men are perpetually single. If anything, they're indulging in situationships. We really don't have any numbers as to what race of women that they're dealing with. But I'd like to explain some of the issues that successful black men are having with some of you ladies who might be watching the show. First and foremost, we're not even going to talk about femininity, single parenthood. Some people may say obesity. I'm not even going to deal with that because I believe that those are arguments that are really at the surface level. It doesn't get into the internal situations that we want to talk about here. But let's get more visceral. The main reason I would say is, first and foremost, you have no idea what it takes to be a man or to understand what a man needs when you talk about you love him. You're going to find out that most women are going to say they love you, but that love needs to be tangible. And most men can account for that. When you say you love a woman, it can never be actions or it can never be words. There are certain things that you need to do that prove your love is tangible to her. Whether that's provision, whether that's making time, whether that's doing things to improve her life. Most women want their lives improved because of their interaction with you, and that is how typically you show your love. Women, on the other hand, they can say they be in love all day. They really love you. They really care about you. They're in love with you. What does that actually mean to a man? What does your love do such that this man's life is improved in any kind of way? Outside of what happens in sex or great conversations and dates, you will find out that that love is not translated for many men to something that's tangible. For an example, you're dealing with a successful black man. He needs to work. He needs things in his life to be less stress-free. One of the things that will really piss off a successful black man is he's telling you these things. You're agreeing that you've heard these things. Yet when we look at the actionable behavior of you as a woman, you have not implemented those things such that he can be respectful of you or take you serious. In other words, you're going to keep hearing the same problems and excuses for why she cannot implement that behavior. If you tell her, like, look, hey, I don't want you showing up to my house drunk, 2-3 years later, she'll do that. If you're telling her, like, I don't want you disturbing me when I'm working, 2 and 3 years later, she will do that. If you're telling her, I don't need you to do X, Y, and Z, 2 and 3 years later, she will do that. And what happens is, if you start to deal with her in a way that is very truthful and forthcoming, what you're gonna find out is a bunch of excuses talking about your tonality and how you're dealing with her. Well, you don't know how to communicate. That's the lie they're gonna tell you. So you're gonna purposely do things that you know the man doesn't like, and when he responds to you, even if he's not calling you out your name, he's just telling you the truth. How you're gonna try to package that is, this is, the way you're talking to me, you don't know how to communicate. When in reality, it's you who didn't digest the information that the black man was trying to give you. You didn't digest it. You didn't listen to what he needed because you want to love him how you want to. Yet you want him to love you in the way that you want. This is one of the reasons why a lot of black men, in my honest opinion, when it comes to dealing with a lot of sisters, this is where a lot of black women fall very short. You fall very short and I'm pretty sure it's a woman problem altogether. But for a successful black man, this is a red flag. You are not implementing that of which I told you I needed from you, although you're going to still come back and ask for money. You're going to ask for these things. You're not implementing those things such that you don't care. So then you get dumped. Secondarily, the other thing that really pisses off successful black men dealing with you is that you have no ability really to be accountable for why you can't implement something. And I know that kind of came from the first part, right? The man is telling you, here's what I need from you. And instead of trying to digest that, you want to make an excuse as to why you can't do that. Now, this is a man you want to be faithful to you. You're probably taking his resources. That man was who he was before you came into his life. But you want to make excuses about what he's asking you to do, which is very simple. Very simple. But there's an excuse. There's a level of unaccountability. And always an excuse. So it makes the man feel like, why am I dealing with you? Out of other ladies that can come into the program and can fit into the little things that I'm asking, you can't do that. For an example, you tell a woman, right? And unaccountability, and it's going to go into the third part. She asks you to reveal information to her, yet she cannot understand it. This is what I want to talk about. 3. Babe, you're not talking to me. You need to express yourself to me. I want to know what's going on in your life. So then you waste your time telling her only for her to do something like repeat the same thing that you did, like, for example, let's say, look, I got a lot of money problems this month. I'm really stressed and I'm really working. She can actually see you doing this. Okay. Then after seeing you do this, what is she going to do? Come and ask you for something like that. Then say, well, you don't have to get upset. But you already knew that you asked this guy. He didn't even want to tell you these things. You asked him to start confiding, but you're showing that you don't understand. You're not empathetic to his walk. So then what you do is you ask him anyway. He told you all of that, but you have no ability to understand what he's talking about. None. Then also, fourthly, you go around jumping between different opinions all the time. You want to do this 1 minute, the next you would like to do that another minute. Indecisive. And then expecting a man to come in and pretty much he gives you the advice that you're looking for, and yet you want to go and do the opposite. So what you're showing him is that you feel that your way works when it most likely doesn't. This could be for successful women, it could be for anybody. But you want to continue to ask him his input when it is very clear that on the issues that you're talking about, you don't know what you're talking about in certain aspects. So you continue to want to do whatever you want to do, then need a bailout from when the man could help you do X, Y, and Z, but you don't want to do that. So basically, even if you're not arguing, even if you're not talking back, you're showing the man that, number one, I don't even respect your time or your issues. But when you're asking me to try to solve an issue for you, it is clear as day that as a woman, you're not following the directions that you asked me to do. You would like to do things your way. And if I'm more successful than you, wouldn't it be understandable that maybe that your way, it doesn't work, especially if it's in a similar thing? It doesn't work. But continuously, you want to go ahead and do things your way that don't work. For the mere fact that a lot of you, okay, want black men who have something going on, okay? It must mean if he's more successful than you, he has to know what he's talking about. Okay? But you still want to challenge him, although he had to be whoever he was to get to where he's at. He had to be there to get to where he's at. You're coming around telling him, well, you know what? I want to do things my way. Well, why are you there? Continuously, you're there. Why are you there in that man's life? Why are you bothering that man? Such that whenever you're asking him for something, you can't even follow through, and then you're asking him, and you're not developing in the relationship. I don't care how much money you got. You're not developing. Then when you wonder why these black men are like, okay, look, we see these situations from certain ladies. And I'm going to tell you, a woman who comes from a single parent household, that's the biggest red flag. That will let most men understand that this lady probably doesn't understand what it takes to be a man. She's never seen it. Let me avoid her. I'm telling you, this is how men are looking at things. They're looking at an ability of not being, I'm telling you something to do. You only want my protection when it comes to money and finances. But when it's about me being a leader in a relationship, you have a problem with that too. Those are red flags. 3, super unaccountable. Everything in your life, blame on somebody else. 3. So what men say, black men say, okay, I keep seeing this race, socioeconomic level. And again, you're trying to date somebody that's above you, which really, I would have to say, for a lot of sisters, you'd be better off dating somebody on your socioeconomic level. Because a lot of times you're going to end up being outcompeted. I'm just trying to be honest. This is the same thing would go for women if it was different. If you can't rise to the occasion and a guy is giving you a lot of time for you to do that and you can't, you don't deserve to be there. Nobody has time for you to get it together. Says where? If you can't get it together, you can't stay. You'd be better off dealing with a guy that is more or less on your level, that maybe you can come and try to do those things, probably that, you feel that do work, which they probably don't, but you'd be better off dealing with this guy. But you want to come into a successful guy's life, try to tell him how to run things, how things are ran. You have absolutely no idea. You probably shouldn't even really be there in the first place. And this is women of any race, by the way. What do you expect is going to be your outcome? Can you honestly believe that? What do you expect? What is he supposed to do with you? And this is why y'all got mad at Kevin Samuels. But this is the real reason. A lot of successful black men are looking at, if I deal with her, I just can't have anything. She is an enemy of progress. The lady might love you. The lady might be good in bed. The lady has no capability of loving the man in the way that he wants. And nobody's going to keep begging you to love me the way that I need you to. I need this level of respect. You can't do that for a successful man. You're going to be gone immediately. Sometimes you might get lucky and get 1-2 months. If you're really lucky, 2 or 3 years. If you're really lucky. Some might even get married, but you're not going to be there very, very long. Trust me. You won't. Somebody else is going to come in and fit into the program, whether she's black or whatever else. Because a man that got a program together, nobody's going to keep arguing with you about that. Not in this life. And if a lot of you ladies don't like that, listen, you don't have to be, I'm just telling you, this is a brother. I believe in black women and black men being together. But if you don't fix these problems, these issues you have, no man of any substance can sit around waiting on you because there's just too many opportunities out there, boo. Sorry. It is what it is. And you can deal with that if you want. Nobody's going to care. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Drunk. Please follow you, do subscribe to the bell. I'm out.